I love playing retro computer games, but I don't play them enough to be able to master them and get to the higher levels. But playing the first level over and over again just gets boring. So let me show you how to get round this and finally see what those higher levels look like. Hi and welcome to Bytes and Bits. I love playing retro computer games, but I don't really have the time to master them. And with a lot of the old style games not having save game states, that means that after you've died or after you've lost all your lives, you're back to the very start. And that means you end up playing the same starting levels over and over again, and eventually it gets a bit boring doing that. But you don't have to spend hours and hours mastering a game to be able to get to the higher levels. There is an easier way, and that's using something called snapshots or save states. So let's have a look at some emulators and how we can use those to progress through our games without having to spend hours mastering them. So we'll start with the Fuse emulator for the ZX Spectrum, and I've loaded up a game here called Manic Miner, and anybody familiar with the Spectrum will obviously have seen this game before. And this is a level-based platform game where we have to guide our miner Willy through a number of levels, collecting those shimmering tokens as we go, and then getting back to the base, which is positioned in various places around the screen. Now, as with all of these sort of games, you end up having 3 lives. There are 20 levels to get through, and this is one of these sort of platform games where you have to do pixel perfect jumps, and the timing is very important. So if I play this normally, I will manage to get maybe 1 or 2 levels done with 3 lives, and that would be as far as I could get. So instead of having to play those first 2 levels over and over again, you can see that there are a large number of these interesting levels. We can actually use this idea of the snapshots then to actually play through the levels, but saving our lives as we go in effect, so that we can just simply get further and further into the game. And each time that we die, instead of having to go right back to the very first level, we can start off at the last one we got to. So we still get all the fun and the excitement of opening up new levels, but it's just we have enough lives to let us actually progress through the game. So let's have a look at how we can use these snapshots then to make all that happen. And again, the process, as I say, is similar for any game and any emulator, and we'll have a look at another couple in a second. But let me show you how I go through doing this then. So on this Fuse emulator then, if we come to our file menu here, you'll see that there is a save snapshot option, and that is off the F2 key. So in this particular emulator, if I hit F2, it will then take a snapshot. And the reason it's called a snapshot is that it has a look at the computer, and in effect it saves a record of exactly the state of everything in that computer at that particular time. So if we then reload the snapshot back in again, we are in exactly the same state that we were when we saved that game. So all of the programs will be loaded in, all of the positions of objects, and everything that's in memory will be reinstated exactly as it was. So what we'll try and do is at the start of each level, and again this would be once you have managed to make it past any particular obstacle in your game, we're going to take a snapshot so that if we die, we can then get straight back to that position and have another go. So let's start the game up and see how we do that then. So we're coming in here into Manic Miner, and really what I'm going to do is I'm going to use every time I finish a level, or start a level, whichever way you want to look at it, I'm going to make a snapshot so I can then jump back to that position at any point. So if we go into the game, the first thing I'm going to do is make a snapshot at the very beginning of this first level. And that just means that I can jump straight back here at any point. I don't have to keep going through opening screens and reloading the game or whatever. I can just jump straight back in here. So I've pressed the F2 key, and it's now asking me to save my snapshot. So by default, it will open up in the folder where your games are stored. But I'm going to create a new folder in here for all of my snapshots of games. And then inside that Snapshots folder, I'm going to create a new folder for each of the games I'm playing. So I'm playing Manic Miner in here. And then inside that, I'm just going to name this particular snapshot something that I'll remember that's relevant to where I am. So this is the start of level number 1. So I'm just going to save that in there. And that is now saved. So basically, as I go along here, if I jump along, and if I happen to die at some position, so I've lost a life now, I don't want to lose any lives as I go through in this particular game. So I'm just simply going to say I want to restart now at that level 1. So I'm going to go to File. You can see here that the Open key is actually on F3. And again, this is where some of the shortcuts do help you out in just saving you going through all the menus all the time. If I now jump straight back into 1, I'm now back at level 1 and I have all of my lives again. So really what I'm going to try and do here is I'm going to try and complete this level without losing any lives. Every time I lose a life, I'm going to come back and reset with the snapshot. And then as soon as I get to the end, I'm going to take another snapshot. So let me just see if I can do that quickly in front of you. So as you can see, I find these game save states particularly helpful in getting through games. So we've pretty much now completed this level, and as soon as we get through here, I'm now going to save that game state, and I'm now going to create my level 2 game save state. So if I save that in there, and now we're on to level 2. So as I come along here, and again, if I come along and I actually die, you can see that I lose my life. And again, I can just simply hit F3, load in level 2, open that up, and I'm now back to the start of level 2. And I can just simply carry on this process then, using my lives to get through each individual level. Okay, so I make sure that I restart every time I lose a life, and that means that I'm starting every level then with a full set of lives. And I can just simply carry on, and that lets me get access to all of the higher levels without having to do it all in one go. I can just dip in wherever I want, and in fact, obviously then I can then leave the game for a few days, come back, and then retry level 10 or wherever it is I've got to. So that's doing it on the ZX Spectrum using the Fuse emulator. So let me just show you where the keys are in a number of other emulators. Okay, but the process, as I've said, is exactly the same. All of these systems work the same, where they take a complete snapshot of the entire computer system so you can jump straight back to where you left off. So using BBEM to emulate our BBC computer, again, I can come up here and I can go to my File menu and I can save a state. So inside here, I can put that somewhere sensible. It automatically creates a BEEB state folder for you. So I could put in here and I could say frac level 1, save that. If I then come off and if I die, I can of course come back in again and I can go to File, and at this time I can load a state and frac level 1. And then we're back again to exactly where we left off from. So using Vice for the Commodore 64, again we have a snapshot menu, and if we click in there, you can see we have a save snapshot with our shortcut key of Alt-S and load with Alt-L. So that's using snapshots and save states on a few emulators, and you can see that they all work in pretty much the same way. And whatever emulator you're using, there will be some sort of function that does this same job. So I hope that helps you access the higher levels in your games. As I say, if you're anything like me at playing games, you're never going to do them by yourself. So if you like that, please do like and subscribe to this channel. Every subscription does help, and hopefully then I will see you soon in another video. Bye for now. Don't forget to visit the course pages for this project. There you'll be able to download the code for this lesson and get lots of extra hints and tips. You'll also get access to all my other programming, electronics and gaming projects. All the links are in the description below. For more games programming, electronics projects and retro gaming, please make sure you like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel and visit my website.